Welcome everyone to the coaching corner with me, Jamila, aka the IEP coach. You all know I love Tuesdays. I get to come on and talk to you guys, and we talk about all things special education. For those of you who are new to the coaching corner, I am Jamila, aka the IEP coach. I am the founder and CEO of the IEP Coach LLC. We are an education consulting company, and we specialize in providing professional development and coaching centered around special education to special education teams, teachers, and paraprofessionals to help them thrive and not just survive in their roles. Okay. And we also do parent workshops, helping parents to understand the special education, IEP, and 504 plan processes. All right. That's just a little bit about what we do at the IEP Coach. Now, I want you all, as you all are coming in, let me know where you're tuning in from. Say hello. How you doing? Let me know where you're tuning in from, because tonight we are talking about the year-end IEP progress monitoring made simple, okay? Because we are towards the end of the year. Some of you all are you finished school in May. Some of you finish at the end of June. I know this year is a little longer for some of you guys. All right. So we're going to, definitely get into it. But before we get into it, I want you guys to go ahead and share out the live. Share out the live. And I'm sharing it out as I'm telling you to share it out. Go ahead and share it out. Also, make sure you are subscribing to our newsletter, the IEP Insider, where we give you actionable strategies. It's not just article based. Our newsletter is specifically set up to give you tips and strategies that you can apply right away. Okay. And we give you the tips and strategies for our teachers as well as the administrators, because listen, it's one thing to give teachers the tips, but sometimes in order for teachers to be able to do their job efficiently, they need their leadership to, well, first of all, your leadership should be efficient all the time, and this will help teachers to be efficient in their roles. But so it's like, as we're giving teachers tips, we need administrators, you need some tips and strategies to best support your special education teams and teachers. So we give you guys tips as well. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in the comment section right now. And this is for, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. And if you are on LinkedIn, if you are on Instagram, you can go ahead and click the link in our bio and subscribe there. Subscribe to our newsletter. So subscribe to the IEP Insider. Okay, and I am putting that in the comments now. You should all be able to click on that and subscribe. Okay, let me see, who do we have? All right, we have people joining in. Continue to share out the live, and let me go ahead and share it out. And just so you know, we are streaming on all platforms. So that's our LinkedIn, our Facebook, our Instagram, as well as our YouTube page. Okay, so we are streaming on all of our platforms. All right. So sharing this out. I hope everybody is enjoying today. I know some of us have been suffering with our allergies. I am one of them. Oh my gosh, I just finished a whole sneeze attack, but I'm doing good. I am doing good. So let me share this out on my page. Alrighty. So yes, share this out. We're about to get on into this. Here we go. All right. All right. So, and we just dropped a reel today focusing on this. So this is right on time. So remember, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put your questions in the comments. We always make time for Q&A. So, and I know it takes sometimes, you want to ask your question right away so that you don't forget it. So you can go ahead, put your question in now, and someone from the team will make sure that I see it. So that way I can answer your question right here on the live. All right. So let's go ahead and jump on into tonight's topic, which again is the year-end IEP progress monitoring made simple. All right. So now progress monitoring is basically you are monitoring the progress of your students. Now you do this consistently at a certain frequency. So you might do it every week, you might do it bi-weekly, you might do it tri-weekly. Okay. Now, students that have IEPs, you definitely want to make sure you are progress monitoring their goals based off of what the documentation says in their IEP. So, for example, when I was an English teacher, so all of our writing goals, we progress monitor them every 3 weeks. Okay. We would do a writing sample where they didn't have the opportunity to edit it, just to see how they were improving with the instruction they were getting for their writing. Majority of the time for anything, if it was reading or math, it was every 2 weeks. Okay. I also was an emotional support teacher, so I was tracking behavior. So some behavior goals were weekly. Some students had daily behavior goals. So I had to progress monitor. Now, when you're progress monitoring, you're going to use different tools to help you with that, to collect data, because when you progress monitor, you want to collect data so you can see how your student is progressing, or if they're not progressing, they are regressing. Okay. Now that's half of progress monitoring. The other part of progress monitoring is analyzing your data. Okay. So when you analyze your data, you're looking to see, what is the data telling me? Is it telling me that the student is improving? Is it telling me that the student is progressing, or are they regressing? Okay, so with progress monitoring, you not only want to collect the data, but you also want to analyze your data, because that helps you to make the data-driven decisions on interventions, making recommendations, and when you're conferencing with parents and teachers, you have the data to back up what you are saying. Okay, now there are some common stress points and some common mistakes people make when they progress monitor. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are not doing that, that you finish strong and you finish in compliance and all of your documents are correct. Okay, so of course you want to make sure your progress report aligns with the IEP goals. Okay, you don't want to be talking about something different in your progress report that is not listed in the student's IEP, because then it's like, well, what are you tracking? It doesn't make sense. It's not aligning. So you want to make sure your report aligns with the goals that are in the IEP, and make sure you keep it specific. Don't be vague with your language. Don't say the student is progressing. That is very vague. Be specific and say how the student is progressing. So let's say they're progressing in their reading comprehension. You could say they are progressing with their reading comprehension in the areas of, and you can say what they have been improving on. It may be their inferential comprehension that they have improved. Okay, so you want to be specific and say that. Okay, so again, use clear language in your progress reports. Don't use all this special ed jargon that the parent is not going to understand. Okay, keep your language easy to understand. And I'm not saying dumb down your language. I'm just saying don't talk in all that SPED jargon and the parent is unclear of what you're talking about in the progress report. Okay, report on actual data that has measured that goal and that you have collected. So if the goal is the student is going to be able to solve one-step word problems by using an anchor chart to find the magic words to know what operation to use with word problems with 80% accuracy on 4 out of 5 trials, then your data needs to show that you had multiple times, meaning at least 4, multiple times where the student was practicing those word problems using that tool of how to identify the magic words, so you know what operation they have to use to solve the problem. You're taking notes, observing them, and then you're also scoring the probe that they completed. So not only will you have data points on them completing that probe, you also will have your notes of observing them completing that work. Okay, so you're going to report on the actual progress. Don't spruce up your data because perhaps you wasn't consistently progress monitoring, because now you're lying. Don't do that. Progress monitor what you actually did. Collect the data that you actually collected. Report on the data that you actually collected. Okay? Because when you do progress monitoring, you have to do it consistently how it's listed in the IEP. It may say progress monitor, it may say report on the progress every 9 weeks. So that doesn't mean at 9 weeks you start collecting data. Within 9 weeks, start collecting data. You can do it every week. You can do it every 2 weeks. Doing some probes that are aligned with the student's IEP goals, collecting that data, analyzing that data, seeing what the data tells you. And then you document that. So when it's time to do that progress report at 9 weeks, you have your data points because you've been consistently collecting the data over time. Okay? All right. The next thing. So those are just like the brief overview of how to make your progress report stronger. So now we're going to go a little deeper on how should you be collecting your data. Okay? So when it comes to collecting data, some people think, they get overwhelmed when they got to collect the data because it's like, oh my God, I gotta pull this kid. They gotta do this probe, but they gotta do this, they gotta do that. They get overwhelmed and they're like, oh my gosh. Take a deep breath and calm down. Take a deep breath. I used to be that person. Figure out how often you're going to be progress monitoring. That's the first thing. And just be consistent with that. Okay? Now, you don't want to overcomplicate things. Focus on what are the goals and what are you going to use to collect data on those goals. Okay? So if it's math or ELA or reading, okay, for reading, okay, you're going to have some text with some questions. Okay, you're going to have some reading passages with some questions. Okay, with math, you're going to have some math problems. If it's word problems, your progress monitoring, you need to make sure you have math word problems. Okay, if it's writing, you may have the student do a code write. And it's just a paragraph, not a whole essay, just a code write, because you want to see, hey, are they writing incomplete sentences? It may be using transition words, writing logical sentences, having a topic sentence and concluding sentence. Okay, so the goal is going to let you know what you're looking for, and that will help you figure out what are you going to use to progress monitor, track those goals. Okay, so again, you have your work samples. You can use progress monitoring probes. These are like a little brief mini assessments. If you are tracking behavior, some people have a hard time tracking behavior because behavior is something that you see. Is observational, and you have to figure out, how can I quantify this behavior so that way I can collect data. So a lot of times you will use a rubric. Now, rubrics can be subjective, but in order for your rubric to be objective, you want to be super duper clear with what your gauge is going to be. Is it going to be a 3, 2, 1, 0, or are you just going to have a 3, 2, 1? Meaning a 3 is, so let's say we are progress monitoring this student for behavior with their work completion. So a 3, that's the highest score the student can get. So a 3, what you're going to write in the box for 3 means student completed all their work with 0 to 1 prompts. Or excuse me, with no prompts. Okay? A 2, the student completed most of their work with 1 to 2 prompts. Okay? A 1 could be the student completed some work. You could say with prompting or with 2 or more prompts. And that's a 1. Okay? Now if they did no work, you may have a 0 and say the student completed no work. So when I'm looking, so if that student's in my class and I'm looking to see if they completed their work, it's very clear what a 3 is, what a 2 is, what a 1 is. It's not vague at all. So that's how you want your rubrics to be. So that way teachers have a clear picture what a 3 is, so that way you can collect data on the behavior. Okay, so you can use rubrics, you can use checklists. And I did all these I used Google Forms and I had used Google Sheets. The reason I did that is because if I print out this paper and I give it to the student to give it to all their teachers, if they lose that paper, all my data is lost. So this is why I started doing it on a computer. It was easy for me to share with teachers, and it was easy for me to share the data with the parents. And it's confidential. Okay? So you can use Doodle. You can use digital tools like Google to help you because it automatically saves it for you. You can have different folders for your students. You can easily share things. You can even make a Google Classroom for your progress monitoring where you can assign the progress probes and things that you need the student to complete. A lot of tools like ReadWorks. What's another one? ReadWorks one. No Red Ink. That's a writing tool. What's another one? It's on the tip of my tongue. But they all align with Google Classroom. So it'll go, you can feed it straight to the Google Classroom. It all connects with the Google Classroom. So that's how you can help keep yourself organized and you know who completed what. Okay? Now, leadership. Whether you're a special education leader or you're a principal, assistant AEP, you have to set the tone in your school you have to, first of all, set the tone in your school that you are serious about collecting data and progress monitoring goals. Also, you have to decide what is your progress monitoring system going to be for your school. There are so many schools that I go into, they don't have a set system for how they are going to collect data and how they're going to progress monitor these goals. So when you go to teachers' classroom, all the teachers are doing different things. They're all doing their own thing. Nothing is streamlined. Okay. Whereas if you have a progress monitoring system like a Ames Web, or you might use Skyward, you might use that as your progress monitoring tool, where all the progress monitoring data is housed in one spot and teachers can assign the assignments as needed and then they can analyze the data. Let's say you don't have it in your budget to have a system like that. Then decide, okay, we are going to progress monitor this day every single week. This is how we're going to progress monitor. You might say, hey, this is a file. This is where all the progress monitoring probes are going to be. Here are all the reading probes you are allowed to use. Here are all the math probes that you are allowed to use. This is what you're going to use for behavior. This is the probe you're going to use when you want to get a baseline for your student. You're going to start here. Okay? You have to be that specific when it comes to creating your progress monitoring system for your school. Then you have to put it into play. Like, how often are we going to do this progress monitoring? Is it going to be every week? Is it going to be every 2 weeks? And you have to go to those classrooms to see, okay, are you actually following the system? And you got to model it for your teachers so they can see what it is. So have check-ins with your teachers, progress monitoring check-ins, so you can see what they are doing with progress monitoring. Have a checklist for reviewing the quality of their progress monitoring. Provide PD. Oh my gosh, provide PD or office hours for your teachers focusing on progress monitoring, and ensure that the IEP progress reports are aligned with the students' IEPs. And I got to drop this right now just because it's on topic. We are having our May special right now where you get 2 PDs for the price of 1. And if you book by May 16th, you get a bonus group coaching session. Definitely take advantage of it. Definitely take advantage of it. And I'm going to drop our link right now while I have your attention. Okay? Sometimes, listen, you need professional development, or you need a refresher so that way teachers can remember what it is they need to do. So you want to book your call now to take advantage of our May special. All right, and I'm dropping the link now. Okay? So you got to do PD. You may need to do refreshers. Hey, or have office hours and you can have the teachers come to your office and get support. All right. All right. So I'm just going to recap what we went over. So we talked about collecting the data for your progress monitoring, making sure that it is aligned with the goals. So if the student IEP goal is reading comprehension, you want to make sure what you're using is going to assess that reading comprehension. If it is solving word problems, you want to make sure what you're using will assess how they solve word problems. Make sure it's aligned. Make sure that your the language you're using is not vague. You want to make sure it's clear. You want to make sure you don't use a bunch of jargon. Okay. And also, you have to be consistent with your progress monitoring. It's not a one-time thing. Oh, I only do it at report card period time. No, progress monitoring is ongoing. And when you have a system in place at your school, it helps a lot because it helps you to be organized with your progress monitoring, because you know when you're going to progress monitor, you know how you're going to be progress monitoring, you know where all the tools are going to be stored, and you know how to progress monitor. So when I was in the classroom, Wednesdays was our progress monitoring day every single week. And what helps, and administrator, this will help you guys a lot. You need to embed progress monitoring time in your schedule, because that helps a lot, especially with special education teachers. When they're trying to pull a student out, they don't want to pull them out of class to progress monitor them. Whereas if it is embedded in the schedule, they can just go pull them at that time. At my old school, we had target time. There was no class at that time. There was in homeroom, so they wasn't missing no class. Also, we had something called academic support. So like if I had my colleague's student and she didn't finish her progress monitoring for them, I could do it during my period of academic support. Okay, you could have you may have two intervention blocks. One could be for the actual interventions, and the other one could be a progress monitoring period where teachers can actually progress monitor their students. Because that is the biggest issue I see in schools. Teachers don't have time to progress monitor because there's no time in the school day, because you have your instruction. And then you can't keep pulling them from specials all the time, because then they're missing specials and then they don't get no grade. Or they say they're failing this because you're constantly pulling them for something. So administrators, embed progress monitoring time in your schedule. It will help you tremendously. Tremendously. It will help the special education teachers tremendously. If you can do 2 periods of that, that will help tremendously. Okay? Now, I want to open it up to questions. If you have any questions about progress monitoring, or if you just have a special education question, drop it in the comments now. And I know it takes a minute for you to type your question, so go ahead and type your question. Just a reminder, our May special is you get 2 PDs for the price of 1. And if you book by May 16th, you get a bonus group coaching session for your special education teachers. So to take advantage of our May special, book a call with us. I am dropping it in the comments again. And I'm also looking to see if we have any questions. Let's see. And don't forget to subscribe to our IEP newsletter. All right, don't forget to subscribe. You definitely want to have that, because again, we are giving you strategies and tips that you can apply right away. Right away. I just dropped the link. Make sure you subscribe. Okay, and we have tips and strategies for not just teachers, but also for admin, because sometimes admin, you have to do your part so that teachers can do their part. Okay? All right. Let's see if we have any questions. And let me also add the May special. Remember, you get 2 PDs for the price of 1. If you book by May 16th, you get a bonus group coaching session for your special education teachers. So let's see, do we have any questions? Any questions about progress monitoring or any special education questions? Let's see. Let's see. Any? All right, let me go back and check Instagram just to see if we have any questions. All right, let's see. Okay, Instagram, I don't see any questions. All right, so if you don't have any questions, that is fine. If it comes to you later, feel free to DM us at the IEP Coach LLC. That's our name on all platforms. We are very responsive. Just a reminder, again, subscribe to our newsletter, the IEP Insider, so that way you know when a new edition is dropping. So we dropped one today. So make sure you are subscribing because you'll get the email notifications so you know. And so you know about any other things that's going on with us at the IEP Coach. And also take advantage of that May special. You get 2 PDs for the price of 1. And if you book by May 16th, you get a bonus group coaching session for your special education teacher. So listen, you can plan this for next year, for next school year. You can buy it now, but use it for next school year. Helping you save money. How many people gonna do that for y'all? All right, so if you don't have any questions, all right. Okay, guys, we're gonna get on out of here. As always, if you have any questions, please you can follow us on all platforms at the IEP Coach LLC. You can send us your questions. We're very responsive. And remember, please be kind to yourself. Please remember your capacity. You are one person and you are only able to do what you are capable of doing. Do not burn yourself out. We will not have Coaching Corner next week. So no Coaching Corner on May 13th. So we will see you guys May the 20th. And we may do another coaching, Ask the IEP Coach live Q&A. We may do that again. We had a lot of fun with that, okay? But thank you all so much, and we will see you guys May 20th. Have an amazing evening.